We'll be continuing motion in a straight line today. In the last session, we studied position, displacement, distance, etc. Hope you all are clear about that. If you have any doubts, you can mention it in the comment section. If you haven't watched that, first go and watch that. Then you can come back to this video. Okay. So let's start the continuation. Today we are going to study two topics: average velocity and average speed. Okay. Suppose there is a person here. Okay. He was initially here, point 1. Okay. Then he traveled, he went here, traveled and came here. Okay. Finally reached here. This is point 2. And it took some time t. It took time t. Maybe say 2 hours. Okay. And he covered a distance of, say, overall he covered, say, 5 kilometers. Okay. Time is 2 hours. Okay. So he traveled from here, this until here. Okay. Through this path, he covered how much distance? He covered 5 kilometers. And he took 2 hours of time. Okay. Now, what is speed? What is the average speed during his travel from point 1 to 2? Say, suppose he started from here. Initially, he might have been at a very high speed. He might have been running. Then he got tired, so he started slowly. He walked slowly. Then he walked slowly. Then again he might have started running. Likewise, his speed has been changing. Speed must have been changing throughout as he traveled from 1 to 2. Okay. In that case, but we are not bothered about what is his in between speed. Say, suppose you travel in a bus, the speed of the bus will be different at different locations, will be different at different time. So it's like we don't bother how the speed varied in between, but we want to see what is the average speed with which it was traveling. Okay. So here the person started from 1 and he reached 2. That means he traveled a distance of 5 kilometers, okay, in a time of 2 hours. Then the average speed is given by the total distance traveled divided by total time taken. Okay. That means average speed, let me call it as S, is equal to, what is the total distance traveled here? It is the distance of this path, length of this path, that is 5 kilometers. So 5 kilometer divided by how much time he has taken? The time is 2 hours. So 5 kilometer by 2 hours. So his average speed is 2.5 kilometer per hour. This is the average speed. So actually he might have traveled, say at this point he might have run with a speed of 6 kilometer per hour. Here he might have slowed down to 1 kilometer per hour. Here again he might have increased to 4 kilometer per hour. Here he might have reduced to, say, 0.5 kilometer per hour. But on an average, what is the speed? That is 2.5 kilometer per hour. Okay. That is the concept of average speed. Let's take another example. Suppose you are traveling in a bus. Okay. Suppose you are traveling by a bus from point A to point B. Okay. Like this. You have been traveling like this. From A to B. From the main bus stand to your home. The distance is 15 kilometers. Okay, and it took a time of say 1 hour to travel. Okay, it was the traffic was huge. Like initially it was going well, suppose it was going well, but later on, as the route changed, the traffic became huge, traffic became heavy, and it took more time. Overall it took 1 hour to cover a distance of 15 kilometer. Okay, so here what is the average speed? Average speed is S is given by the total distance divided by total time. Okay, so what is the total distance here? 15 kilometer divided by what is the time? 1 hour. So the average speed of the bus was 15 kilometer per hour. Okay, remember, in this journey he might have went to even 60 kilometer per hour. Say in this portion he might have gone to say 60 kilometer per hour. In this portion he might have gone to maybe 10 kilometer per hour. In this portion he might have the traffic might have been very heavy, 5 kilometer per hour. In this portion he might have been running at 1 kilometer per hour. So it depends, the in between speed might be different, the instantaneous speed might be different, but the average speed came out to be 15 kilometer per hour. So this is the concept of average speed. Now let's see what is the average velocity. Okay, let's see. So average speed is what we discussed now. Now let's see average velocity. What is velocity? Velocity is speed with the direction, right? So here let's take the previous example. The person traveled from 1 to 2, right? What is the displacement here? Displacement is the shortest distance from the initial point to the final point. Okay, here the displacement must be this one, right? Represented using a straight line. This is the shortest possible distance between point 1 and 2. Okay, and for this displacement this guy took 2 hours. Okay, so average velocity is average velocity is nothing but average velocity is the total displacement or net displacement by time taken. Okay, so here in the previous example he might have traveled 5 kilometers, he might have traveled through a path of 5 kilometer length, but his displacement, if you see, it is only from here to here, which is only say 1 kilometer. This might have been 1 kilometer. Then in that example, what is the total displacement? Total displacement is only 1 kilometer divided by what is the time taken? The total time taken for him to come to this point is again the same, 2 hours. When we calculated average speed, the distance covered was 5 kilometers. The time is 2 hours from here, finally point 2. The total distance is 5 kilometer. The time taken was 2 hours. Here in average velocity, what we are going to do is we will look at the net displacement happened. The man who was here, now he's here, which is only 1 kilometer from his initial position, right? So his net displacement is 1 kilometer, and for that displacement he took 2 hours. That means 1 kilometer divided by 2 hours, that means 0.5 kilometer per hour. That is the average velocity. You can represent it using V bar or V, it doesn't matter. So average velocity is this one. Okay. Now let's take uh, now let's take the example of that bus. Okay. In the previous example, the bus traveled from here, okay, to your home, which is here, okay, from here to here. So we said that the total distance was say 15 kilometer. That was distance. But what is displacement here? You were here initially, right? The bus was here. So this was the initial point. This was the final point. So what is the displacement happened? Displacement happened is the shortest distance. That means the straight line distance from point 1 to 2. That means this is the displacement happened. Okay. This might be say 5 kilometers. Okay. And the time taken in the previous example was 1 hour. The bus took 1 hour to come here. That means the time is 1 hour. Okay. Then what is the average velocity? Average velocity is the displacement happened, displacement by time taken for this entire trip. That is 5 divided by 1 kilometer per hour. That is 5 kilometer per hour. So that's about average velocity and average speed. And remember one thing, average velocity is a vector. It has got a direction, right? It is from here to here. Okay, it has a definite direction. So average velocity is, remember, average velocity must be a, just like velocity, average velocity must be a vector, is a vector. At the same time, average speed is a scalar quantity. Okay.